Hey everyone, it's Edge of Nightfall here, and welcome back to the channel. In my last video, I went over the 4 reasons why a deity or a spirit may want to work with you, or may be calling out to you. And we explored the various reasons as to why that might be. But in this video, I wanted to go over 3 reasons why a deity or a spirit might actually not want to work with you. This is something that in the occult you're bound to run into at one point or another. If you're really dedicated to the path, you're gonna run into this roadblock at some point. And this isn't something that you necessarily need to be frustrated with unless it's happening over and over, but it's just something that you need to be aware of why it could be potentially happening and essentially how to go about it if and when it does end up happening to you. But first, I wanted to give a shout out to today's sponsor, the Pandora Witch Shop, which is an online occult shop that sells beautifully made witchy items and tools. These items are incredibly unique, and the Pandora Witch Shop has a massive array of things to choose from. Everything from elaborate figure candles to specifically carved runes, to spirit and divination boards, spell kits, incenses, inks and oils, and much, much more. I mean it, their selection is incredible. I seriously wish these guys were around when I started my path. This stuff is amazing. Out of their selection, I got the Black Shield runes, which are literally the most unique looking runes I've ever seen, and I mean that in the best way possible. These things really draw you in a way that I have never quite seen or felt with any other rune set that I've come across. Next up, I got the Unholy Heart Beeswax Candle, which again is something I've never come across. I mean, this thing is incredibly detailed. It's one of those objects you just cannot help but be enamored with. It just draws you in a way that most candles I've come across just simply do not, even if they are elaborate. I mean, this is just on a whole new level. Next up, I got the Ouija board that is specifically dedicated and designed to the Greek goddess Hecate, and this one was just calling out to me because I have worked with this goddess in the past many times, and I do have a very specific relationship with her, and so I thought it would be pretty cool to try out and dedicate to the goddess. What I really like about this board is its simplicity in color. I love the black and gray mixture, giving it definition but also allowing a certain subtlety to take place. This is the first Ouija board that I've ever had that is made out of actual wood, and it just gives the object an extra sense of power, not to mention the intricate design and the colors that are piercing and correspond perfectly with this goddess. I thought this object was incredibly unique. On a similar note, I also received the Pendulum board in runic silver, which again is a divinatory board that is specifically designed for pendulums, but instead of having letters around the edges of the circle, you have runes, which I feel gives it an added sense of depth to the type of answers that you can get from it. Not to mention the design is just flawless. It's just such a beautifully crafted divination board, and I honestly couldn't be happier with it. And finally, I also received the Baphomet shelf, which like the previous 2 boards, is incredibly detailed, and this one had an extra sense of color to it. If you are seriously into magic, and you have a magical room to work in, or you are able to decorate your apartment or home in a way that suits your spirituality, this is something that you just have to get. It's something that can really add that sense of witchiness and a kind of darker spirituality to your place of residence. The link to their website will be in the description and in the pinned comment, along with all of the products that I received. Thank you so much again, Pandora Witch Shop, for sponsoring this video. I honestly couldn't be happier with these products that they sent me. In all honesty, I've never actually gotten something like this of such high quality and such distinct craftsmanship. I plan on getting more objects like this in the future, but that's still a ways away. I mean, it was really cool for them to reach out to me and offer me these products. I genuinely cannot recommend them enough. And so the link to their website will be in the description below, as well as in the pinned comment, along with all of the products that I just mentioned. Thank you so much again, Pandora Witch Shop, for sponsoring this video. Now with that all said, let's get into the top 3 reasons why a deity or spirit might not actually work with you. Starting with number 3, the spirit won't manifest for karmic reasons. This has to do with a kind of magic known as low magic, which is essentially, for those of you who don't know, magic that exclusively focuses on the physical world around you, using magic to obtain certain things, physical objects or relationships or things in your life that you can experience on a day-to-day basis in the external world. They're things that essentially you want, and this can even include certain situations that you may want to change as well. But sometimes when you, let's say, call a deity to help you change a situation or manifest a certain thing, depending on the situation that you're in, the spirit might actually not choose to work with you because what you're asking for is something that you can't change, at least not in that moment, because it's karmic. Now, I don't mean karma as in retribution for something that you did or a kind of cosmic punishment, but it has more to do with something that you just have to go through in this life for the sake of experiencing it, whether good or bad. And so if you use low magic, specifically working with a spirit to try and change something about that thing that you were essentially destined to go through or incarnated in this life to experience, then that spirit is not going to cooperate most of the time. There are exceptions, obviously, because everybody's situation is different, but for the most part, in my experience, when there's something that you just have to go through, a lesson that you have to learn, you're going to learn it one way, shape, or form, and there's not a whole lot that you can do to really change that. From my experience personally, the spirit feels kind of like they've shown up, but they're holding back. It's like their presence is there, but there's no real sense of cooperation. Like there's an emptiness, a space between you and that spirit, that being, that you just can't get past. And a lot of times you will get certain impressions in your mind as to the kinds of expressions that deity is making, as a kind of indicator towards its attitude as to why it's not cooperating. I've had this happen to me with Archangel Michael specifically, when I was literally trying to help protect someone from dangers that they were having as a result of a medical condition, but he just wouldn't cooperate with me and help protect this individual I was trying to help protect. And the impression that he was giving me was like, this person has to go through what it is that they're going through. And as hard as I tried to help this person, literally the whole ritual didn't go well at all. And as soon as I finished the ritual, I literally immediately was informed that that person was not doing so well. So it was just further confirmation that what I was feeling while trying to work with this archangel was correct. Unfortunately, this can be extremely frustrating because quite oftentimes you can feel a certain level of attachment to what you are desiring to change, but from my experience, it's just something you have to accept and move on with. Number 2, because you have other areas to develop. This point has more to do with what's known as high magic as opposed to low magic, and as you could probably tell, high magic is literally the opposite of low magic, and it's specifically magic that is geared towards transforming the self as opposed to manifesting certain physical things in the material world. It's more geared towards transforming you emotionally and psychologically on an incredibly deep level. And so sometimes you'll think that it's a good idea to work with a certain deity to help you do that. this type of magic is very deity heavy because it's the entities themselves that do the bulk of the transforming. They are the kind of architects of your transformational growth that you're going to go through. But when this process doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, or at least supposed to in your head, it feels like, you've called the spirit to you and it's arrived, but it's just being stubborn, and it's kind of put up like a wall between you and it. Again, there's that void, that gap between you and it, but it's more of a kind of like brick wall between you two. Like there's more of a concreteness to the emptiness is the best way that I can describe it. There's a feeling that spirit knows that you are not ready at that time to encounter the type of lessons that they give out and experience the type of transformations that they offer. Something is not right about this situation, and you need to focus elsewhere to further your personal development if that is something you choose to continue to seek. If you are a beginner, and even if you're intermediate to an extent, you may not pick up on the fact that this spirit is not right for you at this specific time until you actually get into the working and run into that brick wall. This is something that, again, I do have experience with as well, and it's just that feeling of emptiness. And while you may not pick up on it when you're a beginner, eventually when you keep trying and there are no results, you start to understand kind of what's going on because your intuition picks up on it, and you realize it's like, man, this isn't working the way that I need it to. Again, it's just like the spirit is holding back and there's an empty space between you and it. And finally, number one, that deity is from a particular pantheon that just does not resonate with you. Now, sometimes you can wish to work with this being because other people may recommend that you do, or you read the description of this being and it's just something that kind of intrigues you on a conscious level. But if you pay close attention to your intuition, you'll notice a kind of feeling of foreignness to this entity. And again, if you feel that feeling of foreignness to this specific deity, chances are that will probably extend to the pantheon that it's associated with. Now, this reason does have a bit of an exception to it, because sometimes you actually can have a patron deity, for example, where that deity comes from pantheon-wise doesn't resonate, but for some reason they stand out to you. So sometimes this reason you can actually be in a situation where it's the exact opposite. You don't resonate with a particular pantheon, but this one being from that pantheon kind of calls out to you and plays a significant role in your occult path. So keep that in mind as well. Just because a pantheon doesn't resonate with you doesn't mean that there can't be spirits that you have great interactions with that are from there. For example, I don't particularly resonate with the Hindu gods very much, but I've had great successes with the elephant-headed god Ganesha. I've just had a great working relationship with him, and he has yielded consistent results in my life, and I really enjoy his presence. Working with him is not only interesting, but very much enjoyable as well. So sometimes, there are, like I said, exceptions to this rule. So that concludes the top 3 reasons why a deity may not be willing to work with you. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and again, I wanted to thank Pandora Witch Shop for their generosity towards me and this channel in sending out those occult items. It's been great working with them, and I really just can't recommend their products enough. It's just, their stuff is really high quality, just top-notch occult items, and such a wide variety of things to choose from that can help you enrich your magical journey. So again, I will leave a link to their website in the description below this video and in the pinned comment as well. So be sure to go check out their website and see if anything that they have to offer resonates with you. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video if it helped you at all. And let me know in the comment section below if you guys have had any experiences with this topic as well. I'd love to hear you guys' stories and experiences. Have you ever found yourself calling a spirit that refused to work with you in any way? I'd be really interested in hearing what you guys have to say down below in the comment section, so be sure to leave all of your interesting stories and experiences in the comment section. And if that is the case, what do you guys theorize was the reason for the outcome that you had with your particular experiences? I'd love to hear you guys' stories in the comment section down below. And again, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.